YouTube. Let's man make sure everybody good. Oh, we should be good. What's going on, beautiful? Hold on. Sorry. Give me a little sip. What's going on, beautiful people? It's your host, Drake B. Drake with Everything Culture, the podcast for all cultures, the podcast with a purpose. And this evening, this Sunday evening to be exact, you're here with Sunday Night Live. But if you're listening to this afterwards, this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, whatever you're watching it, whenever you're watching, this is Everything Culture. This is the podcast for all cultures, the podcast with a purpose. Our mission statement comes from the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which is he believed that men hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because of segregation. And because of segregation, we have miscommunication. So we created this podcast and platform on the pillars of respect, communication, and consistency so we get to know each other so we can love one another. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for spending a little time with us, man. How y'all week been? How y'all doing? Have y'all been eating? How you been resting? How you been taking care of yourself? School is back in. Ooh. Shout out to my nieces and nephews and little cousins and all my family members with the children. And y'all, are y'all excited? Are y'all ready for this school year? There's a lot that's been happening already. It's a lot of goings on that's been goings on. If y'all been paying attention, um, I must say I am intrigued by this year and new things that may come with this new year, okay? From the education side to the societal side, which honestly go hand in hand. Ooh, talk about the traffic. I'm not excited about that. But I appreciate education in all forms, positively, of course, and hopefully people receive a proper education in whatever form, either being homeschool, public school, private school, charters, you name it. Okay. But this is the 2026, 2027 year. And goodness, there's a lot of things happening in my state, my county, my city. Okay. It's happening all over. But man, one of the first things that I have saw last week, I think this is like Monday of last week, kicked off. A certain educator here in Houston expressed at the school that they were working at that the students could not read, that the high school children were not on par with the reading level, and they cried and they expressed displeasure and hurt and, things of that nature. But boy, who said it was the interesting thing. Okay. And I didn't disagree with the message. I want to be clear about it because I've said this numerous times myself, not about that particular school per se, but about certain youth. I've been around youth at different ages, and I'm like, goodness. I've seen some that are sharp as a whip, whether they sharp as a tack, and I've seen some that's like, ugh, where do we go wrong? How can we fix this? Okay, what can we do to resolve or absolve this issue? Okay, but the person who said it, in my opinion, I think I have them blocked on socials, and I think a lot of people have dismissed this individual because of their antics, shenanigans, and dishonest behavior that they have displayed before in the past. And can I also say messy? As y'all can see, I'm not going to say the name. I don't want to say the name. I don't like giving power. I believe when you say someone's name, you give them power. I don't want to give that person power because of their past behavior. Do I have grace? Absolutely. But do I recognize when people may be there for them rather than for the best interest of the people they're talking about? Yes, I do. Hold on, let me read the chat real quick. We got Renata back in schools. carpool line and lunch. Oh, you love it. I already know this. We have veteran teachers been saying it and not getting credit. Absolutely. And let's come back to, I think I had a whole episode talking about illiteracy in our community and in our culture. And when I say culture, I'm talking about the American culture. This is not the black, this is everybody. This is the American culture. I remember having a spelling bee. I did spelling bees for like 3 weeks. It was on Fridays, which I would go live on TikTok and I would just chop it up with different people. I allow different people in our lives. Bounce live to live. Hello, Tiana, how you doing? And I would ask people, give them an opportunity. Would you like to be part of this spelling bee? Baby, they were scared. They were scared. Oh, and we got the chat. Hello, Christian. According to other teachers at that school, those students read very well. Hmm. Interesting. The plot thickens. But listen, I could plug some clips because what's wild is the superintendent of HISD got on the news and says, "Are we surprised by this?" Which no, we're not. But you don't supposed like. I'm once again, this year has been a year of people saying the quiet parts out loud. I ain't mad at it. Ain't I mad at it because I'm like, goodness, appreciate the follow. But it's hard to listen, and it's very hard to trust a known scammer. But the initial point remains exactly, and it goes to the point of if you don't, that's a hard thing. I don't trust the messenger, but the message is still relevant. And that's the thing. What was it called when the boy cried wolf? But this is something we've been seeing these wolves, okay? We've been seeing this issue. This issue is nothing new. I've seen it with my own two eyes, heard it with my own two ears, okay? But the thing about instead of complaining, because we can ignore the messenger. We don't have to give the messenger a trophy, a medal, a medallion, any clout, because they were chasing for the clout and the attention. I highly believe that. But when long term as thank you for the heartbeat, Arnisha. Hey. Just like Renata expressed, when we have veteran teachers, veteran educators, very veteran people that's been inside the classroom and helping in the community have expressed this time and time again, but it's not getting that type of attention. Why is it's like, why is this happening now? But I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad people drawing some attention to it, and I hope people hold attention to it as well. I hope people take the time and actually read to their children and family members. Make reading fun. Bring back an expectation and foundation of education. I've seen people express once again. I've been out of school on the other than from the high school, from what you call it, from the kindergarten to the 12th grade level for 22 years now. I believe it's about 22. Okay, shout out to JT Ofo. Um, and don't get me wrong, we had people that struggled in my class that really didn't care about education as much as myself and others. And even myself, I could have done more. I went and got my bachelor's and things of that nature. Gonna be right back for you. If school is free, I'll stay in school. That's another conversation, though. That's definitely another conversation. But you knew you could fail if you did not apply yourself. Like it wasn't a surprise. And from what has been communicated to me from educators that I've had on the show before, it is a daunting task to quote unquote fail a student, to hold back a student, you know? And People talking about these kids now. I'm seeing it with the adults for the past 5 to 6 years. Oh yeah, we talked about bring back popcorn reading. Even myself, when I'm reading to myself, I usually try to read out loud. Okay. Let me tell you, especially when you read the Bible, you sure go slip up here and there. I'm like, when I be reading my baby, it's like, wait a minute, let's pause this. Let's come back to this real quick. I know I'm not saying this right, but make reading fun, make mistakes fun. And people say, because of bullying and other things, but people get online and embarrass themselves on a day-to-day basis. So it's hard for me to say, oh, it's because of the bullying or the treatment. It's something else. As Renata's saying in the chat, it's about the money. And usually most things will come down to that dollar bill, y'all. But what can we do? I always say everything that we can do, it starts with me. All right. It starts with myself. It starts with I. It's more than donating books. Shout out to my brother Donnie down there in Tyler, Texas, man. That he was going to the school and reading to the students, reading to the class. Can you still like can we get more of that? Would you like to volunteer at your local elementary school or middle school and just read to them? Would that be something you'll be interested in? Have programs where people, they don't allow it. That's the thing. Well, how can we support the school? What are things they allow? Because if we see an issue, and I'm not, and when I talk about any community, this is an American issue. How can we provide support as a community or as a village? But what's that statement that was said? How can you trust the village if the village is woo? I don't know if I'm gonna clip that in here. I may clip it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't act like I ain't trying to. I'm trying to keep everything culture going. You feel me? Hold on. Let me read the chat. Hey Jaya, I hate it and still hate reading out loud, but I still do it because my son. Amen. 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 They want our pockets, but not us in the class. To support. Okay. Once again, thank y'all for being here. Make sure to like, share, comment. This is Everything Culture Sunday Night Live, where we get together every Sunday and we have conversations with our audience and our guests our community with y'all. And we talk about what's going on this past week, what we have coming up. And yeah, this is the casual convo. Remember that. Okay. Oh my goodness. Coming back to the community and upbringing. Like I wanted the people, I always say things it started in the home. Start in the home, start in the home, start in the home. The good and the bad. It starts in the home. Hold on. I don't know if y'all saw the video. I watched part of it. This comes around every year, every 2 years or so. When you see unfavorable parenting, can we say that? That's cool. I'm trying to find the most polite way to say this. Hold on. And before we go there, hold on. We got chat on the tube. We got Christian. Back when I was teaching elementary school, we used to allow parents to come in and read to our students until we had a parent try to whoop another child that didn't belong to them. Oh no. What the were you thinking, man? What was that? No, 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 no. Once again, we'll elaborate that on maybe on the Zoom a little later if we have the time. We will discuss that. Okay, because that's crazy. That's crazy. And this wasn't back in the day. Christian got some youth to her. This was like probably in the two. This was like in the 2000s. Okay. Woo, Lord, Lord, Lord. Hey, hello, hey, Manya. Um, so the video I was talking about, it was a mother, and I think it was the first day of school, and she had her 2 to 3 girls, and she was showing their outfits, their hair and everything first day of school. You know how some people do it. And in the video, she was having her daughter was shooting the finger. Drive. She was right. They were riding the back seat with her seatbelt. Coming off very Gangster is that's the term that was used from the Madre. That's the term I'm gonna use here. Okay. Oh, this is in 2015. Oh yeah, that just 10, 11 years ago. Hood. Okay. However you want to do it. But that's I just use gangster. And a lot of people on the internet were not happy about this. I there was a lot of backlash. And the mother, said some things about other folks and also you try to defend her daughters and not only defend the daughters, but defend the behavior. And one term she used, when you listen to gangster music, sometimes you want to do gangster things. Oh, so people want to raise gangsters, you know? And it's people, I know it's like, what do we look at is age appropriate now? You hear me? I was talking about age appropriate, and I never want to come off and be no dang hypocrite, okay? Listen, I was watching a movie the other day that I used to watch when I was younger. And while watching this movie, I like my mama should be ashamed of herself for allowing me to watch this. I see why my grandma. I talked about this a few episodes ago. How my grandma, I think she whipped my mom like as an adult while I was alive because she was allowing us to watch House Party 2 and other things. And it was the Toxic Avenger. And I like, man, I used to watch this as a kid. Man, I put that on. It was so inappropriate. I like, oh goodness. But I'm not a second grader in the wig. Listen, I don't. What do we deem appropriate anymore, man? What do we even deem age appropriate for a child? What? Because I'm listening everything I'm saying. I see it in my own fam. Okay, I'm not talking about strangers. I see it in my own family. Listen, we was going through my little cousin. We're not even going through my little cousin niece phone, whatever. She was showing us some pictures. And while she's showing us the pictures, we scrolling and it's about 20, 30 pictures of her with her middle finger up. Baby girl going into the fifth grade. It, I made a video the other day, like, do y'all even go to y'all kids' phone? It has to be, but from a person who do not have children, I respect the boundary that is set for me as an uncle. Okay. And with that boundary is it's very unique because I want to make sure it's like, yo, I see this as an issue. I can communicate with you and I'll communicate with the child, but you are the main person responsible for this. I can come help you clean up your house, but it's up to you to be consistently cleaning your house. You're the main person responsible. Now, if you tell me you don't want your house clean or mind my business, I'm definitely going to do that. But when it gets to the point where it becomes unhealthy or too problematic, where you now want assistance, but it's too far gone now. Am I making sense? Y'all following me? It's certain things that I've seen in my 40 years of living. Hey, Tanya, thank you for the likes. That I've seen in the youth in my family. I was the youth myself, and I remember hearing my elders trying to nip things in the bud, get ahead of the situation, to get ahead of the behavior. And I seen my mother, my aunties, other people protect their child, shield their child from the discipline or redirection. And that goes from elders, it goes from teachers, it goes to the community members where they're like, oh, they're not the problem. Y'all need to do this, this, and that. Y'all need to change. Y'all don't understand it. But then that problem gets to the point where, oh man, that parent is now, why did nobody, I need help. No, why nobody told me this? Why you've been told, you've been warned, people trying to give support. So and that's why I say when we talk about community, you have to trust the community because sooner or later that community either is going to shun you, redirect you, redirect you while you're in it, you know, and it accept you. And to be accepting a community, you have to be understanding like that you're not the decisions you make not does not only affect you. I hope I'm making sense. I remember my mother, as me being an elder brother, used to tell me she used to be real hard on me, and when my sibling got in trouble, she used to put a lot of that pressure on me. Why didn't you protect him, or why didn't you stop that? Why didn't you do that? I'm like, what you mean? I tell you, you are the parent. And if I remember one time I had to legit whoop him on the bus. And it was such a crazy because this is on the way to school. Such a weird experience till to the day where all the other kids on the bus was like, "Oh, I'm tripping." I'm like, "But nah, y'all don't understand. He was being disrespectful to adults, and that it was completely unnecessary. Because if we get kicked out this bus route, my mama don't have our car barely making it. She got to go to work. It's so many things that I'm thinking as a child that's going to have a ripple effect if this is not disciplined right now. Because the person at the house is not doing it. The adult is not doing it. I say all that because I shared this conversation years ago when I was speaking about my mother. That 9 2 years later, I remember being maybe 11 years old. That we had this picnic table under the former, so it should be a switch tree. That's all I know. It was a tree that I hated all my heart because you can get switches. You just the branch came down. Whatever. I mean, maybe it was a pecan tree. It was a pecan tree. But I remember she was on that picnic table under the tree. It was like in a little court, which kind of not a courthouse, but the court area that we had at the house. And I remember her smoking. It was dark outside, and she saw me walking back. I don't know if I came back and ride my bike or what, but she said, Drake. She called me by my, first name, of course, but she said, Drake, I apologize. I'm sorry. Hmm? A parent apologizing? Excuse me? And she took a drag of that cigarette. She was like, "You were right. I didn't want to listen to you. I didn't want to listen to nobody." She expressed that she was the youngest sibling, and she had a lot of feelings because her being the youngest sibling, she felt that her youngest sibling, I mean, her older siblings did not treat her fairly. So when she saw how I was treating my brother, or she thought I was bullying him, she thought I was, once again, bullying, being unfair. But after certain getting kicked out of school, getting kicked out of programs, getting suspended one after another and another, she was like, "You were right." Now, unfortunately, I was at this moment in my life where I was not the most respectful child. Yeah, I've been through some trauma, and I like to have transparency with y'all. But I was like, was no S, no poop. Let's say that. Duh, I told you this. But I see my mother start to mature and start to recognize, things, and we gotta have grace with people like that too, in the same sense. And we gotta accept that help. But it's a work in progress, is the thing we call life. It's that balance between being an enabler, being a supporter, and being a distant, to become disconnected. And I struggle with that myself. I struggle with being that family member that I'm connected, I'm locked in. I give advice, but I usually give advice when people ask for advice. But y'all, I was gonna talk about some movies and things that I had come up recently. Hey, Lo, what's going on? We still on TikTok right now. So and YouTube, we still streaming everywhere. So Be mindful of that, okay? Be mindful of that. But the thing is, it's a real unique experience, and I try to share with folks as much as possible that, oh my gosh, how we continue to maneuver and learn. What's dynamic gallery? Oh, I like that. So something I want. Hey, Court, we over here on Zoom. If you want to join the Zoom, come on through. We about to hop off the talk in a second. What was this? I watched the movie earlier today. I wanted to break the movie down, but I break it up another time. Let me look at it so I can remember the name so I don't mess it up. They're calling it like the new Jurassic Park. Like it was pretty good in my opinion. And let me see if it's popping. Yeah, it was a good watch. Shout out to my boo for coming through, watching it with me. It was suspenseful. She don't like suspense. My bad. I didn't think it was gonna be that crazy. Thought it'd be like, eh. Okay, the end of Oak Street. The end of Oak Street. Pretty good watch. Pretty good watch. And I was just talking about spades last week. If y'all remember with spades, you gotta have what respect, communication, and consistency. And one of the things you have to trust your partner. So many other things I could talk about that movie too, but we go save it for another day. I might come on do a little quick episode for y'all later if y'all or just do like, we follow us on the show, socials. We'll talk, chop it up about it. Love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Justice for Nolan Wells. It's a clip that I may put in either throughout this or right now. And I'm saying this to remind myself of his father saying the same thing I said weeks ago when we first found this. Like, y'all got to be for real with me. But y'all, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. God bless y'all.